We have mentioned so many good games that have come out throughout the year, but let's also mention the bad ones. Let's talk about that. What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Past the Joysticks. And today we're going to be talking about the worst games of 2022 so far. And I say so far because there are still a few months in 2022, and some of the big games that are going to be coming out at the end of the year might be big flops that we don't know about yet, and we kind of want to save everybody from taking their time and playing these bad games. So the reason why we're going to be doing this list is because sometimes we say to ourselves like, damn, nobody should be playing this game. And I'm sorry to all the developers out there and everything, but there are certain games that they're just not great. And we're gonna be just mentioning just a few of the worst games that have come out in 2022 so far. But first, happy October to everybody. It's spooky season officially, and we are gonna mention all the games. Well, not all the games. Let's just mention a few of the games that are gonna be coming out in October, because October is the sweet spot of the year that all the big AAA titles are coming out, and we have great titles coming out this month, next month. And then we have the video game awards at the end of the year. So I want to just mention a few of the games that are going to be coming out in October, just to look out for a few great games to play. So starting in the beginning of the month, just a few days from now, it's going to be Overwatch 2. And finally, we get the second installment in Overwatch, changing the game style from a 6v6 that it was to now a 5v5 with only one tank. So it's going to change the dynamic of the game style and everything a little bit. So I'm very excited to see what they do with Overwatch 2. If you guys were lucky enough to play the beta, you guys know what I'm talking about. I was able to play it for a little while, so I was very excited to see the change in the game style from a 6v6 to a 5v5. We also get 3 new characters. If you guys didn't play them in the beta, you get Sojourn, you get the Junker Queen, and the new character that was just announced not long ago, Kiriko, which is a support character. So I'm very excited to see the dynamic of the change in a 5v5 Overwatch. So PC players are able to download the Overwatch 2 now, pre-download it, and then console players are going to be able to download it very early the day of. So very excited to see Overwatch 2 coming out on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and on the Switch. So something to look out for on October 4th, Overwatch 2. Very excited for that. We also have the next installment into the LEGO series, LEGO Brick Tales, available on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch on October 12th. So the next installment onto the LEGO series. I've been a fan of the LEGO series forever now. So definitely something to look out for, something to try. Very excited for that one. Another great game that is going to be coming out later on is, I'm excited for it. If you guys are excited of the Dead by Daylight type gameplay, there's a Dragon Ball game coming out called Dragon Ball The Breakers, coming out on October 14th. And that one is kind of like a Dead by Daylight type style, where you get one killer, in this case one villain, against 4 survivors. You can get either Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu, or others. So I am excited to see how this one pans out. I didn't play the open beta for it, or the demo, and I don't know what to expect. But from the trailers and everything, I am very excited to see what they do with that one. Switching a little bit to the end of the year, the end of the month, you are going to get great AAA titles. This is where the big ones actually start. On October 21st, on PC and Xbox, you have Scorn. And Scorn looks like it's going to be an incredible game. One of the big anticipated games available on Game Pass. So if you guys have Game Pass, definitely it's a game to look out for. Scorn, available on October 21st. Look out for that one. Big title coming out at the end of the month is going to be Bayonetta 3. And we haven't had a Bayonetta since since 2014. So it's been a while. It's been a while since we got the last installment into the Bayonetta series. So now we have Bayonetta 3 on October 28th. And it's going to be a very interesting style. If you guys like those kind of like hack and slash type games, Bayonetta 3 is definitely the game for you. I will definitely look out for that one. Finally, a big title. It's going to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The remake of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It's coming out on October 28th. So for you Call of Duty players out there, Call of Duty fans, this is definitely the game to look out for at the end of the month. I haven't gotten a Call of Duty in so long, so I am excited to pick this one up because Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 at the back when it came out was my favorite one. So I am excited to see what they do with the remake of this one. But those are just some of the games that are coming out in October. So, are you excited for any of them? Which ones are you going to pick up in October? And let us know down below in the comments because there's going to be a lot of great gaming during the month of October. I mean, I'm going to be playing Overwatch, probably Bayonetta, Call of Duty, also Scorn, definitely. So definitely let us know down below in the comments which ones are you going to be playing. But onto the topic of worst games of 2022. We always talk about the great games of the year. We always talk about what games are going to be up for game of the year, and these are going to be great AAA titles, great indie games that come out. Some sleepers that you never knew were going to be good and they end up being amazing. But we never really focus on what games are going to be the bad games of 2022 or the year. So what games have come out this year so far that have not been great, that have just lacked on that gaming style, on those graphics, on being focused on more microtransactions and stuff like that? What games have not been amazing? Well, I mean, just to mention a few, I'm not going to go through the whole list of all the games of 2022, but to mention a few, just to stay away from them a little bit, I will start with one of my biggest disappointments, one of the ones that I was very excited to play. I played the demo, and I thought the demo was great for being a demo. I thought it was great, and I said to myself at the time, I'm like, when this game is complete, I feel like this game is going to be incredible. So one of the games that I played back then and wasn't great that came out this year was Crossfire X. And Crossfire X, unfortunately, it released in this year after so long of being in development. The demo came out a few years ago, actually. And I thought the game was going to be amazing because the demo was great. And after a few years, the game released, and unfortunately, it still feels like the demo. It feels the same. And it was a very lackluster game. It didn't evolve much from what it was back then to what it actually ended up being. So it was not amazing. Crossfire X is an FPS type game where you progress through the multiplayer map and everything. It also has its campaign, which first of all was not long, and it just felt very repetitive, and it didn't have much for it. So there was not much for the game itself to offer from what it was back then as a demo to what it ended up being as a full game. It was not great. So I will definitely say Crossfire X was definitely one of the ones that it just was not great as it evolved from a demo to a full game and everything. So definitely not recommend. Another game that was a remake, let's say like an enhanced edition from an old game, was Blade Runner Enhanced Edition. In Blade Runner, the original game, I mean, it was kind of like a 50-50. Because Blade Runner Enhanced, the original game, it had like kind of like a cult following, There were these people that adore the game. There were these people that really loved the game, but it was a very specific audience for this type of game. And don't get me wrong, I mean, the game back then was amazing and everything, but now evolving into 2022 and releasing the enhanced edition of Blade Runner, they actually didn't get the full titles from EA from back then, so they had to kind of like work from scratch. They had to release this game from scratch, and unfortunately, it was not great. It was missing a lot of the elements. It was kind of like a dumbed down version of what it was, even though it's in the new year. It was just not great. It just felt like kind of like empty. So Blade Runner Enhanced Edition was just not great from being such a big game back then in the 90s to what it is now. So I would definitely not recommend Blade Runner Enhanced Edition unless you're a big fan of it and you were one of those cult followings back then. Then I mean, hey, go for it. But it's definitely not a game to look out for now. Another game, if you're a Final Fantasy fan and you guys love your Chocobos, then Chocobo GP might be the game for you. Probably not, because Chocobo GP, it's actually the sequel to the 1999 racer of the Chocobo Racing. Chocobo GP is it released for the Nintendo Switch, and it really was not amazing. Although the game style and everything was really fun, I will say it was fun to play. It was just not a full game. And what I mean by that is it actually focused a lot on microtransactions, kind of like a pay to play, kind of like a pay to win type game. And I definitely do not say that Chocobo GP followed what Chocobo Racing back in the '99 did. So Chocobo GP was not amazing. Hey, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, then hey, go ahead, play it. Tell me what you think. But focusing on microtransactions, it just feels more like a mobile game. Now, talking about mobile games, another great game, another game that was not as great was Diablo Immortal. Released on mobile, Diablo Immortal was very, very repetitive. It was a game that everybody was excited. I mean, if you're a follower of these Blizzard games like Diablo and everything, dungeon crawlers, Diablo, it's one of the best games that there is out there. Especially for when you think of a dungeon crawler game, you think of Diablo. Diablo Immortal came out for mobile this year, and it was kind of like a joke when it first got announced back in 2018, and nobody thought much of it. But when it released, a lot of people played it, and it just felt very empty. It felt like it needed more. So I will say a lot of microtransactions, like you kind of like forced into the microtransactions at the end game, because you feel like you're doing so much more of the same things, and you need so much more to advance, because if you don't do the microtransactions, you're going to be stuck in the game for a very long time. I will say just wait for the next full Diablo game, and it'll probably be much better for you. The last game that I want to mention, in again, I'm not going through the full list of all these games because there were a lot. There were a lot of games that were flopped, and one of the big games that everybody was excited for was Square Enix's Babylon's Fall. And if you're a big fan of RPGs and everything, I think Babylon's Fall was one of those games that everybody was excited for. Everybody just wanted to experience this next installment in Square Enix's RPG style games. I don't know. For me, it wasn't it. Babylon's Fall, it just felt like it had a lot of boring quests. It had a lot of boring like missions and everything that you were doing, and it felt again repetitive. It felt like you didn't have much variety, which is kind of weird to say about Square Enix, because I mean, usually when it comes to their RPGs, they actually spend a lot of time into their games, and they usually put a lot of effort into having variety into their, either fighting style or gameplay or anything like that. And Babylon's Fall felt like it was gonna be that when they first showed it, and when it released, it felt very incomplete. It felt like it needed more. I don't know. It just felt that it wasn't full. It wasn't a complete game for me. But those are some of the games that came out in 2022 that you should stay away from. I feel like there's gonna be more, of course, as the time goes by. But tell us which games down below in the comments you feel like were one of the worst games of 2022. What games should I stay away from playing in 2022? But also, remember, we're in October. So what games are you excited to play in October? Because you know me, I'm going to be playing some Overwatch 2. So thank you everybody for watching. Remember to share all the content, and remember to click that little bell and the subscribe button so everybody can stay up to date with all the content. But thank you everybody for watching. Remember to comment down below, and always remember to pass the joystick. See you later, guys.